COVID's dangerous. It's lethal. It's a bit like the beef Notorious B.I.G. used to rap about when he said, beef is when your moms ain't safe up in the streets. Beef is when I see you, guaranteed to be in ICU.
And I see you making an ass out of yourself. Yes! So I was trying to think if there's anything perhaps worse than our pullout from Afghanistan. At first, Saigon pops into your head, but compared to this, that now looks like a Rockettes dress rehearsal. But I did, in fact, find something worse than the Afghanistan cut and run. It's the president's defense of it.
Still a lot of pandemonium outside the airport.
Well, there is, but look, but no one's being killed right now. God forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but no one's being killed right now. We got 1,000, somewhere 1,200 out yesterday, a couple thousand a day, and it's increasing. We're going to get those people out.
But we've all seen the pictures. We've seen those hundreds of people packed into a C-17. We've seen Afghans falling.
That was 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
What does that even mean? It was 2 days prior, not 4. Of course, I blame that damn racist math. But to be fair, who doesn't lose track of time when you're in hiding, constantly nursing an ice cream headache? And as for no one's being killed right now, if Joe sets the bar any lower, I'll be able to drink at it. So, it's time once again for...
Great job there, Joe.
So yeah, Joe sat down in an interview with George Stephanopoulos. Joe was sitting, George was standing on a milk crate. So does the chaos no longer matter because it was, as he pointed out incorrectly 4 or 5 days ago? And did he get the date deliberately wrong considering the interview was pre-taped? Does he even know where he is? We haven't seen a leader this asleep at the wheel since Ted Kennedy and Chappaquiddick. Yeah, thank you. What a strange, nonsensical answer. Is he really this incompetent, or did he inhale too much of that spray tan? But every time you think Joe Biden is bad, remember what Canada has.
It is exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she-cession and turn it into a she-covery.
She-cession? She-covery? He really is full of sheet. Apparently, the U.S. #1 export is no longer crude oil, it's woke stupidity. Except apparently in the Taliban, who have up to this point taken more questions than Joe Biden. And then there's this pair.
It sounds like you're saying this depends on diplomacy with the Taliban. That's it. That's our only option, is getting them to agree to do this.
Well, let me add something here, Helene. We got a couple entry control points set up, a north one, an east one, and a third one at Abbey Gate. They're currently manned with consular officers, Marines. This is all part of the perimeter.
Why is everyone acting like it's their first day on the job? And their entire job is to protect American citizens, and yet they're more scared of offending the political left than those we left behind. He definitely doesn't put the millie in military. Just let that marinade. But in defense of the general, none of this was in any of Robin DiAngelo's books on how to be an anti-racist. But it sounds like Joe thinks we should have gotten out a long time ago.
It sounds like you think we should have gotten out a long time ago.
We should have.
And accept the idea that it was going to be messy no matter what.
Well, by the way, what would be messy?
The
if we had gotten out a long time ago, getting out would be messy no matter when it occurred.
Maybe he's right. But he could have tried to make it a little less messy. But it feels like the only one who can get major control over anything in this country is Britney Spears' father. Joe says we anticipated all of that. But I wonder if the people clinging from the side of the plane were made aware of that. He sounds like Pee Wee Herman after flying over his handlebars, declaring, "I meant to do that." I guess the only safe and orderly exit the president could muster was the one directly after his first press conference to flee to Camp David. But the real shocker, of course, is that In Afghanistan took 20 years to maintain and then fell faster than Biden in a strong wind. It's Gutfeld Foreign Policy 101. The first thing you need to figure out after invading a place is how to get the hell out of it. Hell, any bank robber knows that. The getaway car is priority number one. It's like when I go to a biker bar. First thing you do is look for the exit. And a good meth dealer. Right, Kat? And now we have thousands of Americans there, and we, the most powerful nation on earth, can't get them out. Even France is sending in teams to go door to door. France, the home of mimes. So this moment sucks, because the whole entire thing sucks. People were making billions off the war. As pointed out by journalist Matt Taibbi, the Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction found 30% of $63 billion in expenses examined was lost to fraud and waste. If the cost of the whole war was $2 trillion, the overall amount lost might be $600 billion. So like cake at a nursing home birthday bash, everyone got a piece. Everyone except the men and women who risked their lives there. Some of them died there, and the ones who are lucky enough to make it home will get maybe a pat on the head and hear, nice try, maybe next time. Veteran Daryl Owens said it well. The U.S. provided a level of stability to Afghan lives for 2 decades while trying to reduce the risk of terrorism to our country. Yet this week, seemingly in an instant, Afghanistan was given back to the Taliban with barely a whimper. So it's no surprise, according to a poll of 1.2 million vets by Mission Roll Call, 71% said this debacle was a reason for personal sadness. But who knows? Maybe the Taliban's changed.
Do you believe the Taliban have changed?
No. Let me put it this way. I think they're going through sort of an existential crisis about, do they want to be recognized by the international community as being a legitimate government? I'm not sure I would have predicted, George, nor would you or anyone else, that when we decided to leave, that they'd provide safe passage for Americans to get out.
Well, that's a relief. No one predicted a safe passage from the Taliban. Well, Donald Trump might disagree. But if that's the case, you're saying it could have been far worse, but we got lucky based on the kindness of murderous strangers. Talk about having no plan. I put more prep into an animals are great segment than our leaders did to give citizens and allies in Afghanistan a safe exit. But what if the Taliban has changed? I'd like to see their new look.
We're getting the Taliban back together. Introducing Taliban 2.0. It's been 2 decades, we've grown, and we be heading in the right direction. This ain't your grandfather's terror network. We killed your grandfather years ago. Sure, we still think women are inferior, and we still hate Jews, gays, Christians, Hindus, foreigners, and the Mets. But that's equality. But now we use the right pronouns before we kill you. He died. His death. See? And our local offices are always open to hear from dissenters. And we promise never to go door to door looking for you.
We have been hearing messages from people who are saying that the Taliban and their fighters have gone house to house. Are you denying those allegations?
Yes, I totally deny. They are not Taliban.
So follow us on Twitter and subscribe to our YouTube page. They won't censor us because we don't criticize elections. And don't forget to smash that like button like the head of an infidel. Warning, Taliban 2.0 cannot guarantee the rights or safety of LGBTQ citizens, women, animals, or any living creature.
So we got problems, but it's not just the new Afghanistan, it's the old Biden. He may be woke, but he's definitely not awake. Let's welcome tonight's guest. If she were a restaurant, all she'd be serving is straight facts. Director and former White House staffer, Amanda Millian. He went to Harvard and Yale, but don't let that fool you. He's actually smart. Author of the book Woke Inc., Vivek Ramaswamy. She's like a glow stick. Bright, fun, and often seen on the ground at a rave. Fox News contributor Kat Timpf. And when he walks to work, Janice Dean reports the weather as overcast. My massive sidekick and the NWA World Television Champion, Iris. Amanda, what do you make of this mess?
Well, it's kind of so dark that it's hard to even try to have a sense of humor about it, but you've done a good job at that. That was well done.
Thank you.
I mean, the thing about it is that, you know, coming from having worked at the State Department and the White House in the former administration, it's a really dark thing to look at because they are right that it's a complicated situation and there's no good way to leave, but there's no way our administration would have let that happen. And the thing that I think people get confused about is why people get so angry and frequently point to the wokeism, the obsession with like Milley and these guys, certainly our current State Department with wokeism, overdoing their job is because moments like this are why we need them to be good at their basic job.
Right.
Their most basic, fundamental job is to get Americans out of harm's way and to not conduct ourselves in a way that is this embarrassing on the world stage and projects this much weakness. It's actually a national security issue, and it's so that's what's really frustrating. I think that's gotten lost, is that a lot of times it's easy to sort of joke about it, like, they're not looking at, they don't have the instructions on how to get out of Afghanistan in the white fragility book, which is true. But the frustrating thing is, you're like, add your little programs, add your eons of NGOs doing female bead-making entrepreneurship programs after you figure out the basics,
It's a good point. I've only had somebody who wrote a book about wokeism on the set. So, Kat, Rebecca, this is why, like, when people dismiss that this wokeism isn't a big deal, it is a big deal because it replaces something.
It totally does. It replaces American fortitude. I think there's exactly one way that Joe Biden could have prevented the situation from happening. It is issuing a threat to the Taliban, a credible threat that we will completely annihilate you if you renege on your agreements and mess around with our exit from Afghanistan. And if he could do that credibly, they wouldn't have messed around. They would not have gone for Kabul. They might have done some small stuff around the edges in the tribal warlord area. They would not have gone for Kabul. But Joe Biden couldn't do it. You want to know why? Because he is obsessed with self-criticism of the United States. And even the Taliban knows that he thinks he doesn't have the moral standing to back up that threat. So that's why they went for it. And I think that's the way that wokeism destructs America on the global stage, is it reduces our moral standing to use extraordinary force precisely when we need it most. So I think that's part of it. I also just think it was incompetent. I mean, if you're Joe Biden, why wouldn't you go in the winter, okay? We have a thing called a football season in America. The Taliban, they have this thing, I'm not even kidding you, fighting season. It is summer. So guess what? In winter, it's cold. They have snow. That might have been a good time to go, but instead he wants the symbolism of doing it before 9/11. Now we're going to have the symbolism of the Taliban flag flying on top of the U.S. Embassy on the 20th anniversary of 9/11 when those planes hit those towers. I never thought I'd see the day, and here we are.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It was all to bake it before a date. And then when you choose a date and that you tell everybody that's what's happening, and you do it when they fight. It's a bit strange that they have a fighting season, but...
Well, we all kind of have a fighting season.
That's true. Mine's year-round.
Let's be honest, mine's literally 2 or 3 days a week when I'm home. It's like... Oh, Joe. I get it. It's hard to admit when you're wrong, but what are we doing? We need to respect our boots, but we got to get rid of the suits. Like, if there is anybody who is thinking about not voting this year, if this is not what we've seen to get you going, there should be record number of votes going when the Senate and the House is up. Because how is any administration, I mean, I'm not a rocket scientist, but the first thing I would have done was I would have killed their social media platform. You realize the Taliban is not only pushing their propaganda, they're also using it to find where people are hiding. That flag on the building went everywhere. They're getting world recognition. But yet if you say a bad thing about somebody, or if you were in the 5th grade and said the wrong thing, you're canceled or whatever. But here's a platform where people are actually dying. We're seeing it on the streets. We're getting text messages and messages from all around the world, hearing about people being shot at and kept away from airports. And we're seeing all these horrible things. And all we've gotten so far is a scathing email. That was sent.
By the UN.
That's the UN. We sent a scathing email. Not working. Great point. How about, just send, you know what, I get it, you're woke. Maybe just send the video of the bomb that President Trump dropped. You know what I'm saying? Maybe send that. Or say, he's a phone call away. Whatever, because there was a time you didn't like what he said on Twitter, so you took him off, but his foreign policy, every one of those countries fought before they stepped. Now they're just like our borders. It's open season, and they're literally posting while they do it. That's how arrogant and confident they are based on this spineless administration.
They need to send the Soleimani picture.
That's
send the
true.
picture of what they did to what we did to Soleimani and clean all that up.
Kat, what I miss is, listening or reading any of Chrissy Teigen's tweets about the Taliban.
I think
I think there's a big empty space.
I think that she might have been able to solve this.
I think so too. Her withering wit.
Yeah, absolutely. I, for one, was very shocked to hear Biden say that he doesn't think that the Taliban is killing people, because I've seen the videos and not a mask in sight.
Yeah.
Okay, none of them.
Yes.
So, and like, they're not, they're also not using their platform to encourage vaccination.
That is true.
So, murderers,
Yeah.
all on their own. I mean, look, it's so gross to watch so many of these things on so many levels, and not least of all, that news conference with the generals and the top military guys complaining about erroneous reporting.
Right.
After the years of that they fed us about this war and putting people in harm's way based on lies, cry me a river. Shut up.
Only one from Kat today.
Okay.
Yeah. You get 2 more for the rest of the show. So parse them
I
out.
don't have any more planned.
Well, okay. Well, then.
Depends on where it goes, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.